appearance at a reality TV show. The Willis family had its first time TLC in May of 2015, and it was consistent. With the recent cancellation of 19 County starring Trevor, fans seem to have found a solid replacement. However, this show would also...
There's so many of them! Which one of them is real?
This family that seemed to have it all.
How deep are you? Don't worry, I'll kill you before it gets too...
So if that's something
All right. Let's see how many hours you logged. Let's say you played 90 hours of Rocket League.
Wow. Until I stumbled upon a book called Surviving My Childhood in Hawaii, voiced by Jessica.
Which one's the real
Jessica is a person that will
Does one of me move a little differently or something? Or maybe one of me is slightly discolored. Is that what I know? How will you figure it out?
She is a victim in this case. There are other victims who we'll get into some, but most of what I know is from Jessica.
Oh, you
So
got
that's why
me.
she will be
Big
discussed so
deal.
much. So throughout the video,
Let's
just
say
keep
you
in mind
tackle
that while
another
focusing on Jessica's story, the same sort of stuff was happening all throughout this family.
Oh,
This
you got
family
Lizzie
was
in the
ran like
mix.
a cult.
Hey,
The
idiot!
dad, Toby
You need
Willis,
to come.
at
Do you
the
really
center.
think you're
Everyone was
doing
under
this
his
to save
control.
humanity?
Everyone was
You
under his
do
authority.
realize
And
you're just
unfortunately, this is
playing
another
the
example
hero,
of
right?
a fundamentalist
Everyone's
journey.
about you.
Doom's Journey is a free-to-play hidden object murder mystery game where you collect clues by finding
Oh,
the objects.
sure. And you think
You
you're
play as
the only
Detective
one
June
who can
Parker,
do
and at
that?
the opening of
You
the
think they
game,
don't
June
have,
travels
like,
back to her
space
childhood
institutions in place to deal with villains like the G-Free
The Willis
cartel?
family aired
I'm
for the
actually
first time
asking.
on
I have no idea. I barely know anything about space.
for
It
years,
doesn't
and I
matter.
was so happy the
The
first
point
time they
is,
reached out
this
about
is all
sponsoring my
about
channel.
you.
And you can
You
click the link
didn't
in my
do
description
anything
box
with
or
your
scan the
life, and
QR
now
code
you
on
want
the
to play
scary
the
stuff.
hero.
for
Well,
free. June's
guess
Journey is
what?
available on
It
Android and
might
iOS mobile
actually be
devices,
working.
as well as
I mean,
PC through
I don't know
Facebook.
anyone
A big
else
thank
who's
you to
doing
June's
anything
Journey
to
for
stop the
sponsoring this
G-Free.
video.
This
and
might
I'm
actually
very
be,
proud of
it
By the way,
might be the right thing for you to do. Oh my god. You
Clover,
really
Clover
are humanity's
is one
only
of
hope,
four
aren't you?
dachshunds that I have, and they're all very, very needy. She needs me to hold her.
Through is down.
So if you see anything on my lap, it's Clover. Or if you hear snoring, it's Clover. Toby Nathaniel Willis was born on April 29th, 1969, or 1970. I've seen both dates. I'm not really sure which one's correct. He was the second of 9 kids born to Reverend Dwayne Willis and Janet Willis. The family lived in the south side of Chicago, and Toby's dad, Dwayne, was a pastor at a small independent Baptist church. So religion was a huge part of Toby's day-to-day life. So Toby's parents had their first 3 kids, so that's Toby and 2 of his siblings. Then there was like a 9-year gap, and then they had 6 more children in rapid succession, bringing the total up to 9. Toby did well in school, and he was on the high school wrestling team, and this was really where his passion was. Toby started dating a girl named Brenda, who was in the grade above him. He was a junior, and she was a senior. And Brenda was very intelligent and popular. She was valedictorian of her class. After high school, Brenda went off to college in Florida while
Need some
Toby finished
motivation
up
to
his
keep
senior
going.
year. Toby
How
was
about
awarded a
reward?
full scholarship to
Here,
Northwestern
take
University
this
in
one
Illinois,
that says you
and
spent
he
all
ended
your
up on the college
in-game
wrestling
playtime
team.
at an
He had
Indian
dreams of
strip
making
club.
wrestling his
Oh,
life.
that's
He
permanent,
wanted
by the
to
way.
eventually compete
Everyone on
in
your
the
friends
Olympics.
list can see
And he
that's correct.
definitely had the drive and determination to make that happen. But his dream was cut short when he was injured during a match. Something happened during this match, and Toby was suddenly paralyzed. He did go on to make a full recovery, but this pretty much ended his dreams of becoming an Olympic wrestler. He suffered from chronic neck and back pain after that. He had to have several surgeries, but this interest in wrestling does come back up later in the case. Toby graduated from Northwestern University and he got a job in the children's field. He and Brenda got married in 1991 and they settled into a little house in Chicago. And right away, Toby and Brenda chose to start a family and live a very traditional lifestyle. You know, with the man going out to make money and the woman dedicating herself to take care of kids and her husband. And their plan was to just have as many children as God was willing to give them, just like his parents had. They would go on to have 12 kids, 8 girls and 4 boys. They had their first child, Jessica, in 1992, and after that, it was just like one right after another. They had a son named Jeremiah, just 11 months after Jessica was born, and then they had another daughter named Jennifer in 1995. And it was during Brenda's pregnancy with her 3rd child, Jennifer, that an absolutely devastating tragedy happened. On the morning after the birth, driving the ambulance down Highway 94 were
that even the real me?
in the van with them that day were
Really
their
having
6
a rough
children.
go of it.
So remember, they had
Hold
Toby
on,
and 2
Saturday.
other kids, and then they
It's
had
like
that
having
9-year
enough
gap,
fun
and then 6
keeping your
more
little
kids.
band of
Well, the
hero
children who
guns
were in that
together.
van that day
Where,
with
where,
them
where did
were their
everyone
6
go?
youngest
Where
kids.
you
The
at,
children
bud?
were 13-year-old
Oh,
Ben,
you found me. I was
11-year-old
freaking out.
Joe,
I was worried. I
9-year-old
was worried I
Sam,
lost you.
7-year-old Hank, 3-year-old Elizabeth, and 6-week-old
There's
As the
my
family was
buddy.
traveling
There
down the
we
highway,
are.
a piece of
I
metal
was on
that
the
had
fence for a
fallen
minute
from a
there,
big
but
red
deep
truck
down
was
I
just
knew
lying
you
in the
wouldn't
middle
leave
of the
me
road.
behind.
By the time Dwayne noticed, it was too late to do anything about it. He didn't have time to swerve, and the van ended up hitting the metal, causing the van to spin out of control and the gas tank exploded. The van went up in flames. Dwayne, Janet, and their 13-year-old son Ben managed to pull themselves
I'm
out of the
literally
burning
so
vehicle,
happy to
and
see
they
you
were
again.
literally
You have
on
no
fire.
idea. I was
Some
for real
motorists stopped to
freaking
help
out.
out, and they were like pulling the shirts off their backs to help put out the flames on Janet, Ben, and Dwayne, and the 3 of them were rushed to the hospital. But sadly, the other 5 children died before anyone could get to them. Janet and Dwayne had some 2nd and 3rd-degree burns, but Ben had severe 3rd-degree burns covering 90% of his body. Janet and Dwayne did make a full recovery, but Ben's injuries were just too severe. He passed away just a day after the crash. So within a matter of 24 hours, Janet and Dwayne Willis had lost 6 of their children. Now, as you can imagine, this made national news.
We hit the object, the rear exploded, taking the car out of control. The fire was around us even before the van stopped sliding. And I was yelling to get out of the car.
People could not imagine the nightmare that Janet and Dwayne were living, having to raise 6 children all at once. But the family held strong to their faith. Dwayne Willis said, "We believe children are a heritage of the Lord. We thank God for 6 precious children. A rascally boy,
I don't know.
a sweet girl, so much like her mother,
I'm
and
sorry,
a little
alright?
baby."
I'm
just
sorry
beginning
I
to
let
smile.
everyone down.
We
I was
understood
selfish
that they
and
were given
stupid, and I
reward.
beat
We
myself up
understood
for
they
it every
weren't
single
ours.
day,
They
and
were
I'm
his,
so
and
glad
we
I
were
found all
stewards
of
of
you
those
because
children.
you've
And
given
so
me
God
reason
took
to
them
live
back.
again.
Oh, Jenny.
Don't get all mushy about it.
I just want to make it right.
You can. We all can.
Well, to be honest, I've given up on everything before you
Are
guys
you
came along.
here for Tracy?
Before I found all of you. But
People
now
and
we're
I
a
help-
team, and we're unstoppable.
God damn it. He's right.
You mean it?
Yeah, dumbass. We've all made mistakes. I mean, not Kenny level planet-wide genocide mistakes, but we've all made mistakes. And there is no way we're letting your big fucking mistake keep us from taking down the G3. So let's kick some fucking ass together.
Yeah, that sounds good.
He is the
Everything they
giver
just
and
said
taker
sounded
of life.
really
And
good
some
and smart.
people,
I love
especially
you all
deeply
so
religious
much.
people,
You're the first
they
real
found the
family I've
story
ever
so
had.
inspirational
Except
that
for
this
my little
family was able to
kids
stay
I
so
spawned to shoot
positive
at bad
and faithful
guys.
after
And the
having
family
to
I
deal
probably
with this
had before the
horrific
G3
tragedy.
fucked with my
But as
brain
time
and
went on,
ruined all
more
my memories.
details
Let's
about
do
the
this,
crash
bounty
started
hunter.
to
As a
emerge.
family.
An investigation revealed that the piece of
Thanks,
metal
everyone.
had fallen from
Let's
a big
fucking
red
do
truck
this.
driving
All right, that's it.
the Willises.
I'm gonna
And
erase
that
all
truck
your
driver
game
had
data
been
now.
involved in a
I can
bribery
do that.
scandal
It's
in
easy.
order to obtain
You'll have to
a truck
start
driving
all over.
license
Here we go.
illegally.
You ready?
This in turn exposed corruption involving the then
Okay,
Secretary of
that
State
worked.
George Ryan,
No,
who by the
shit,
time
you're
all
still
this
here?
came out was now the governor
Actually,
of
don't
the
have
state
to
of
do
Illinois.
that.
Several
Never
members
mind,
of
forget
George
this.
Ryan's staff were convicted of illegally selling government licenses and contracts to several employees in the state, and one of those state employees was a man named Ricardo Guzman. Instead of taking the mandatory test needed to obtain a valid legal truck driving license, Ricardo secretly paid members of the Secretary of State's office to obtain legally. And this revelation resulted in a major lawsuit.
What are
In
you doing?
1999,
You're
Reverend
supposed to be
Willis,
spiraling
Janet
into
Willis,
justice,
was awarded
not
It was one of the truck drivers who had lost that piece of metal and drive the skateboarder for his license. The resulting federal investigation helped to set dozens of state authorities to jail, including former Illinois Governor George Ryan, and thankfully to all the people and all people who have been saved to go to the 5 years after the crash, the Willises won a $100 million out-of-court settlement.
like
He's
mentioned
dead.
in the research,
Jimmy,
but
I
I
feel
don't think
bad.
that's accurate.
And I-
Whatever the amount, though, it was
Yeah,
enough
yeah,
to
me
completely
too.
change
I
Toby's
love you
life.
guys.
By this point in 1999,
the
they
fuck?
already
Is
had
this
6
about the
children,
virus that
so
wiped
they
out
had
Gatlas?
Jessica, Jeremiah, Jennifer, Jeanette, Jackson, and Jedediah. Toby quit his computer programming job, and he and Brenda and 6 children packed up and they moved to Ashland City, Tennessee, which is about a 30-minute drive from Nashville. They found a house
Okay, the
on
Earth
this
coordinates
giant
should be
piece
logged
of
in here
property in the
somewhere.
hills of
Fuck
Ashland,
yeah,
and this
yeah.
very secluded house in the hills of Tennessee. Even before
what's
the
up
family
again?
left Chicago, they had been surrounded by relatives, and they attended Toby's father's church, so they always had other
Okay.
people around.
Alright,
But now they're in
let's-
this brand
let's
new
cut our nipple
place.
off.
They're
Let's do it.
isolated from everyone.
That's hilarious.
Jazz, Juliet, Jamie, Joanna, Jager, and the 12th and final child, Jada. The children were all homeschooled, and Toby started a church with a few other large families with similar beliefs. So this meant conservative, fundamentalist views, no birth control, no sex before marriage. The girls are under the control of their fathers until they get married, and then once that happened, they were under control of their husbands. The children were not to get out of line, they were to serve their parents faithfully. The father, Toby, was an extension of God. That's how he came to be viewed. A godlike figure. The men in the church even decided that the women and girls should have minimal chance to speak during service. The girls and women were to just sit there, look pretty, obey, do whatever daddy says, eventually grow up, get married, and make babies. That was a woman's true purpose in life. This was a very strict church setting, very strict household. And the kids were very isolated. They didn't go to school, they didn't go to a traditional church, so they didn't have a lot of
get on the same page
outsiders.
if you want to be
so their social interactions
I don't
were
want you to fuck this up
right
right
at
the finish line. Just keep it together. You've been doing a great job.
He essentially retired. And so this meant that Toby was around a lot, which really should have been a good thing, but it wasn't, because Toby was actually a horrible, disgusting being. He was extremely abusive in every way.
Whoa, be careful
with him.
with him.
Being all the time, that meant that he had all the time in the world to control.
I meant that sincerely. I just
Toby
don't
Willis was
know
a very, very
actually how to be nice to you. Jane almost killed your super gun all over again.
And I do want to
Don't
have a
listen to
warning
her.
here. I'm not going to get
I'm
graphic
about
at
to
all.
do some real
As vague as humanly
Frankenstein
possible,
shit here.
because
Oh God, I don't know if I'm going to be able to look him in the
but I
eye.
do think that it's very
That's
important
fine.
because this
I
happens
think we
way too
actually
often,
severed his
especially
optic
in
nerves earlier.
extremely
What are
fanatically
you
religious
staring at,
families.
dork?
And even though I'm going to be very vague, it is still a pretty upsetting topic, so just keep that in mind.
Oh yeah,
So it
right.
started with
Me and
Toby
Gene,
touching
best buds.
Jessica
We had a real
appropriately.
bonding moment
And
a
he
little
would
while
tell
ago
her
when I was
that
helping him
this is
stuff
what
a bag of
daddies like
dicks down
homies
his
to do.
throat.
Again, she is 3
dream
years
on,
old
kid.
the first time
I
that
hope
she
your
remembers
sister
this
gets
happening.
space
This
chlamydia.
sort of
Wow,
thing
yeah,
would
no,
happen
they're getting
night
along.
after night for years.
All right,
Jessica later
almost
said
got
that
it.
it must have happened
Stand
at
back,
least
everyone.
100 times.
Here
He would
we
even
go.
instruct Jessica to touch herself, like while he
Is
was
he?
making
Wait
out,
for
and
it.
then he would ask her randomly if she could
Les,
he would
is
also
that-
force Jessica
is that
to
you?
look at and touch
Oh,
his private
I
areas. And he would
might have
reassure
fucked up
Jessica
his
that this
speech
was
sentence,
okay,
too.
because, this was
Let's do
just
it.
him
Talk to
teaching
me.
her how to please her future husband.
So
So
what,
he would
all he
also
can say
call
is his
Jessica
name?
into
This is
and make her
sad.
give
Listen,
him,
everything
like,
else
a
I did
back
was
massage
perfect.
or
He
foot
can shoot,
massage,
he can
and
dig, he
during
can
these
shit, he
massages,
just can't
he
talk
would tell
right.
Jessica
But he's
what a
all in
great
there,
kisser
right?
she
Like,
was,
he
and how
knows who
she's
I
a much
am?
better kisser than her mom. He would also ask
Les,
Jessica
I can't.
weird questions, like, if I
I'm
asked
so
you to marry me,
sorry.
would you? And he would talk bad about
I
her
can't
to
believe I
Jessica.
didn't have
He
to
would
tell
call her
everybody
fat
what I
and say
did.
things about
Can you
how
be kidding
some
me right now?
children have
Fuck off, kid.
body. And he would also force
What?
Jessica to participate in
What?
photo shoots,
And I'm
where
happy
he
to
would
see
make
my
her
friend,
get into
okay?
poses,
Fuck.
and he told
See,
her
I'm
that
not
these
the worst
photos would
scumbag
be for
here.
her future husband
Wow,
to
this
pleasure
is really
himself
it,
with.
huh?
Once her body was
You got
also
the Earth
fat,
coordinates, right?
stretched out, had
It's
kids.
time for
And
your
if Jessica
final mission.
wasn't posing sexy enough, he would
Heck,
instruct her
kid.
to study lingerie
Looks like we
catalogs in order to get
made a pretty good
ideas
team.
on how to pose properly.
It's been
And
quite the
everything
journey.
that I have just told you was
This might be the
happening
end of
to
the line,
Jessica
so
when she was
make sure you
very
finish
young,
up everything
like
you wanted to do
elementary
before we
school
head back
age.
to
And
Earth.
keep in mind that this
You,
is also happening to
ready
other
to go?
children in the family. And because Jessica was so young
You
and
bet, kid.
also just
Take all the
very
time you need.
isolated, she has said that she didn't really have the vocabulary to understand
Okay,
exactly
I know
what
this
was
has been
happening.
hard.
Like, she knew something
I'm
bad was
really
going
glad
on.
we
She
have
didn't
each
really know
other.
how to
But
express
if you
it.
die,
When I was really
I'm
little,
gonna have to
I
tell
didn't
everyone
have words for that. I didn't
all
necessarily
that
know that
hentai
anything
I
was
found on your
wrong, and then
computer.
realizing something
So
was
don't
wrong.
die.
It was
Because
really just
I-
maybe my body telling me,
I
or
don't
something was
want to
uncomfortable,
have
but
to tell
not having the clarity,
everyone
not understanding.
about
This was
all
a very confusing situation, and unfortunately, things just got
hentai.
worse.
Nobody's
One
gonna
night,
give
when
a shit.
Jessica was 9 years
Everyone
old,
in space
this
loves
was
hentai.
escalated.
It's
So one
great.
side of the house they bought needed a little update. And so while that was under construction, the kids moved from that side of the house to the other side where Brenda and Toby's room was. And they were sleeping in Toby and Brenda's master suite. They brought little mattresses in for the kids that were kind of like lined up against the wall, and that's where the kids were sleeping. Now, Jessica thought that since all of her siblings were sleeping right next to each other, right next to her, literally in the same room with their mother, that Toby wouldn't do anything to her, because he would be too afraid that he would get caught. But that did not stop Toby. First of all, he continued telling Jessica that
Who's
she
there?
should touch herself, like he would tuck her in, and then he would whisper, like, don't forget
Okay.
to do what I told you
Good
to do.
work.
And then
You got
one
me.
night, Toby
I don't
did
give a
something
shit.
like
You think
that.
I care about getting
He
pranked?
waited until everyone
Okay,
was
fuck
asleep.
you.
And
I
picked
got
Jessica
awful
up
friends.
from her mattress. He carried her out of the room
I'm gonna
and
send
threw
a
her to
stick
the
your
back.
ass.
And
How you like that, huh?
now, while this was happening, one of the other kids woke up and they had happened. This startled Toby, and so he stopped. Over the years, the girls would tell Brenda at least bits and pieces of what was happening. She would confront Toby, there would be a big fight, and he would deny everything, or he would say that he had no recollection of doing that, but if he did, he was sorry, and then things would just keep happening. This cycle happened so often that the situation was really dark and deeper. It's like everyone kind of knew, but no one was really talking about it. The girls, like I said, would randomly mention it to Brenda, but they didn't talk to each other. Brenda even asked Jessica once when she was very young if Toby was touching her inappropriately because one of the younger girls had told Brenda that he was doing that to them. Jessica told her yes, but she didn't really go into too much detail. Brenda was extremely upset. She confronted Toby, but he just denied it. So there was a general understanding that these things were happening to Jessica and some, if not all, of the other girls. But it's like everyone just felt powerless to stop it. Now the kids were kids. There's not much they can do in a situation like this. They were telling Brenda, they did what they were supposed to do. They told an adult that that's all they could really do. Children rely on the adults to take that information and do something about it, but nothing was ever really done. The kids have all spoken out in support of Brenda after this case broke, and they said that they don't blame her because she was a victim too. Now, in addition to sexual stuff, Toby was also extremely violent and was beating his children and his wife if they ever got out of line. Everyone, including Brenda, was taught that saying no to Toby was an idea. They had to do whatever Toby said, no matter what, or there would be major consequences. He would beat his children and his wife with a belt. He would also use a wooden paddle. He even punched them sometimes. He would slap them across the face with the back of his hand, causing them to bleed. There were times when Toby would even have the other children hold down whoever was in trouble so that he could more easily beat them. Toby absolutely ruled that household. And he believed in breaking a child's will as early as possible to show that
perfectly legal business.
There was one time when one of the boys, Jedediah, who they called Jedi, when he was a toddler, he was throwing like a massive tantrum, like toddlers.
You got a good eye.
So Toby alternated between hitting
food
him and putting him inside of a closet. And if Jedi came out and his will was still too strong for Toby's liking, he would hit him again and then throw him back into the closet. This went on for hours until finally Jedi just gave in, and he was so exhausted by the end of it, he fell asleep. According to Toby, this is what fathers needed to do.
The Hobbit?
Kids
Yeah.
And remember,
That's pretty cool.
That she remembers being in tears watching her dad pin down her brother Jeremiah when he's like 2 or 3 years old. And this was not play fighting. You know, parents and kids will play fight sometimes. That's not what this was. Not that anyone I know would ever pin down a toddler, but this was definitely not play. Like Jeremiah would obviously be in distress. He would be crying, but Toby would not let up. So this is a grown man pinning down a crying toddler and putting him into various wrestling holds against his will. He was always asserting his dominance over his family. Like, he took any chance he could to let them know who was actually in charge. He also had this dream that he would have a bunch of sons who he could, like, force into wrestling, and they could live out his dream of becoming a big wrestler. And maybe this was his sadistic way of introducing his sons to the sport. I don't know. Toby even co-founded an organization called RPW, or Real Pro Wrestling. It was a production company that would put on various wrestling events. Now, this business did not last very long. It was only on air for like 2 seasons, and it went under in 2007. But when RPW was still up and running, Toby had set up a home office, and he would conduct all of the business out of that office. And he started luring his daughters into the office by telling them that they could skip out on all of their chores for the day if they helped him at work and be his secretary.
All right, let's do a cool
He would
down
only
lap.
pick one of the girls at a time, and all they had to do was help out with some filing and organizing, and they would get to skip out on all their other responsibilities. So to the girls, this sounded like a pretty good deal, but part of the deal was that they would be required to wear mini skirts while they were secretary, and he would abuse the girls right there in his office. He would make them sit on his lap, and he would touching them. It was like he was playing some sick kind of role-playing fantasy, but he was doing this with his daughters. Once RPW went under in 2007,
Oh my
Toby turned
God,
his
I
focus
didn't
on
know
using his
Lovelocks
children
could
for fame
talk.
and money. The children were all homeschooled, like I said, and as part of their homeschooling, the children were taught to dance and sing and play instruments. They played Irish music, and they competed in various Irish and West Coast swing dance competitions, and they were extremely talented. They started out by performing in pubs around the Nashville area, but but word started to spread about this big, talented family of dancers and singers, and more opportunities started to open up. They started performing internationally. They went to Ireland several times. They performed at the Grand Ole Opry several times. Jessica became the lead singer and songwriter for the band, and the other siblings did like backup vocals and played instruments. And the youngest of the group would come on stage and do cute little dances while their older siblings would play. Toby had a studio set up on the property, and the kids would practice
Guess we have to take out another work base, huh?
And knowing what we know about Toby, he was not going to settle for anything less than perfect. He was extremely hard on the children. He would have the children in tears during rehearsals. He would be yelling, calling them names. Sometimes he would throw things at them. One time, Jessica was practicing her fiddle, and she wasn't playing up to Toby's standards, and so he grabbed an object and threw it at her face. Thankfully, she didn't manage to dodge it, but as she was moving out of the way, she broke her fiddle. This kind of thing happened all the time. There was a lot of pressure on the kids, and if it didn't do everything perfectly to Toby's standards, they knew they were in trouble. This was not a loving, supportive environment. And knowing this, it's very frustrating to watch a kid's show because Toby tries to act like he doesn't get bothered by anything. He lets the kids figure things out for themselves. He's just there for support. But that could not be further.
I tell them how they can do what to do as long as they're doing something.
More cartel headed this way.
They get to live their lives, and that's the holy grail, which we've never gotten to, but we're trying.
The kids were also forced to work out every day, and they were forced to run, and Toby would time them while they ran. He would also force the kids to weigh in so he could keep a close eye on their weight, and if he thought they weighed more than they should, he would call them fat. He would ridicule them in front of the other kids. When Jessica was in her early teens, Toby actually put her on a diet. And Toby didn't like the way that Jessica ran for some reason, and so he would force her to run back and forth in their yard. And their yard is big, okay? This is not like a normal yard. They live on 180 acres. So he would force Jessica to run back and forth. And the entire time she was running, he would be mocking her, calling her names right in front of the other kids. He would sometimes even run behind her, and he would kick at her heels if she was running too slowly. No one wanted to be that person in the family, the one that Toby was making fun of. And so all the kids just tried to do whatever they could to please him at all times so that they could stay on his good side. And the children didn't have any outlets, like social outlets, out to his standards. He genuinely believed that he was the smartest person in every room and that his family was better than every other family. So the only other people they were allowed to hang out with had to be Toby approved. And so this meant they had to have the same beliefs and the same values that he had. This greatly limited their social interactions. This was even the case as the kids became adults. Jessica did not get her first cell phone until she was 23 years old. Can you imagine being 23 years old? You are traveling the world, performing concerts, you're on TV shows, you've got all of this pressure and responsibility, but you are just now allowed to have a cell phone. But if Jessica did something to upset Toby, he would confiscate her cell phone. Like, she would get grounded from her phone. Again, she is 23 years old. She's a grown woman. And while all of this abuse and sinister stuff was going on at home, the children were still expected to perform perfectly at every show. And they did. And as time went on, Toby became more and more unhinged, especially when it came to religion. He became obsessed with the apocalypse, which isn't surprising to me whatsoever. How many times have you guys heard me say that about these narcissistic cult types? This is kind of like textbook. Toby told the children that they needed to look for signs of the coming apocalypse, and they needed to prepare. They started stockpiling food and weapons, and not just any weapons either. They had multiple assault rifles. Some even had silencers. He would also always be talking about what happened at Ruby Ridge, and he would compare their family to the Weaver family. And if you don't know about Ruby Ridge, it was a standoff that lasted 11 days between the Weaver family and the authorities in Idaho. This happened back in 1992 on the Weaver family property in Ruby Ridge, and it ended in 3 deaths. States. Randy Weaver was a self-described white separatist, and he had been attending meetings of the Aryan Nation. During one of these meetings, he sold 2 illegal firearms to an undercover ATF agent. Randy was supposed to appear in court, and he failed to appear, so a warrant was put out for his arrest.
You see, Weaver was wanted on a federal firearm charge. He sold 2 sawed-off shotguns to a federal informant who was looking for information about the Aryan Nation based nearby in Idaho's Panhandle. Weaver refused to show up in court. U.S. Marshal agents made a series of attempts to have Weaver surrender, but Weaver refused to leave his cabin. That's when things escalated, with more federal agents and hundreds of Weaver supporters converging on Ruby Ridge. Shots were fired, and it didn't take long to see what had just happened.
Really, within 15 minutes, Vicki Weaver would be dead, and Kevin Harris would be shot, and the entire thing could have been easily settled. We just simply blow up.
There's a lot more to that story. That's like a super condensed summary. There are a lot of opinions on who was at fault, but Toby was always bringing up Ruby Ridge, and he would use that incident as a way to make the children afraid of the authorities. Toby would also pit the children against each other. He would tell them to watch over one another to make sure everyone was doing what they were supposed to do. And if anyone got out of line, he encouraged them to hit one another. And he would encourage the children to go and tell on the others for breaking any of the rules. So this naturally caused distrust between the kids. This put a barrier between each of them. This is probably why none of the girls were talking to each other about the abuse they were suffering at Toby's hands. This kept Toby in the know about everything, and it kept every person in that house loyal to him above anyone else. In 2011, GAC, or Great American Country, contacted the Willis family about doing a reality show. By this point, the family had garnered a lot of attention in the music industry, and you add to that the fact that this is a large, super religious family, and the executives thought that might be an interesting show.
We decided before we got married we were going to Super 12 tips. I didn't know what I was getting into.
Coming this June, a family with talent, times 12. GAC's all-new series, The Willis Clan.
Toby and Brenda Willis, thank you for letting us in your home and being a part of this new Willis Clan show that's going to be on GAC. With 12 kids, how do they all get along so well, Brenda, Toby?
I think the big thing is that Toby is a strong head of the household and disciplinarian, and so they don't get away with anything.
Where the wrestling part comes in, we're gonna see a little bit of that in just a little while. The guys are gonna take us down to the workout area. Toby, you as the head of the household, I mean, you use words like accomplished and maximum effort, to help your kids. Where do you find that balance of, okay, I'm gonna push them here and I'm gonna pull back on here?
Well, I don't always get it right, and you just have to adjust. But kids don't know what they want. When they're young, they really don't know what they want. And a lot of parents, ask a 3-year-old or a 5-year-old what they want, and the fact is, a 3 to 5-year-old want a hot dog. And they don't want it differently. And so, parents have to step in and push them, and it's a fine line, But kids are very forgiving. You push them too much, you can back off a little bit. They know that parents love them, and when they see the effort that goes in, they can overcome our mistakes and so on.
The show was not renewed for a second season, but this was not the end of their reality TV career. In 2014, the family competed on America's Got Talent, and they managed to make it all the way to the quarterfinals. This appearance led to the start of their second reality TV show. In 2015, TLC, the Learning Channel, the channel that seems to have little to no standards or screening processes, offered the Willises their own TV show. The show would be called The Willis Family, and it would follow the day-to-day lives of this large Christian family of musicians. And with the imminent downfall of 19 Kids and Counting, the network probably thought that this would be a good replacement.
Story about a family who could become the new Duggars, huh?
Yeah, absolutely, but hopefully without the scandal. That's the plan. Anyway, they are the Willis family, and there are a lot of them. They sing, they dance, they have their own TLC show, and they seem like a bucket full of down home. Let's do good.
Everyone is welcome on Depop. Whatever your style, there's someone who wants to buy it. List your clothes in minutes. Pay nothing.
It's so nice to be back in your hands again.
3 albums and just wrapped up the first season of the TLC reality show. Their big break came last year on America's Got Talent.
There is no premarital sex,
and they do not drink alcohol. But at the same time, the kids talk about their parents being pretty lenient.
One significant thing that I haven't mentioned yet was that the Willis house actually burned down back in 2004. That big house that they bought when they first moved to Tennessee, it burned down. Thankfully, no one was in the home at the time, but it was a total loss. The family would spend several years moving from one rental property to the next, even living out of their tour bus at times, waiting for the litigation with the insurance company to come to an end. And once the family was finally ready to rebuild, Toby started making plans to turn his property into what can only be described as a compound. There's a scene in the show where Toby has contractors out at the property, and he's talking about his plan to divide up the land between all 12 of his kids and him and Brenda. He and Brenda would have their home, and each kid would be able to build on their own plot of land. There would also be like a common house where they could record music and have rehearsals and stuff. Toby was making it to where his children and his children's children would never leave. They would basically be trapped on that property, cut off from outsiders, and they could never leave it.
Let me give you a proposal. You guys don't have to answer me now, but you guys can think about it. What I'd like to do is get a surveyor right off the land, and you guys literally can each get a plot.
Big idea is to try to help my kids and give them land so they can build houses and still live and work together. And hopefully the surveyor can take the land and divide it up and accomplish, what we need.
What I'm hoping to be able to do is eventually build a public house, or we built the pub. A lot of people don't know that's where the word pub comes from, but the public house, where everybody hang out, it's a bigger house. And then build the smaller houses. Maybe 3 right here is what I'm hoping for, and then 4 along there. And the idea is you have this small gated community where all the kids can live. In a sense, the grandkids can all hang out, cousins, whatever, hang out together. And then you have the public house where you have the studios and workspace and the living space where school would go on and that kind of stuff.
He was setting this compound up so that he could retain control over his kids, even throughout their adulthoods. He would remain in control, and he would continue to make a lot of money off his kids. And this would also give him unlimited access to future grandchildren. And I think that this is actually the main motivation behind him wanting to create this compound. Everyone in this family was quite literally living 2 separate realities. In one reality, they were happy, they were touring, they were playing music all over the country, filming a reality TV show, and putting on these happy masks that their father had carefully crafted for them. And as soon as the music stopped and the camera stopped rolling, the happy mask came off, and their second, much darker reality began. But there were times when the 2 realities collided. During the filming of season 1 of The Willis Family, one of the main storylines involved and they joined the little home church that the Willises attended. And Jeremiah and Mary liked each other, and they started up a courtship. Toby gave Jeremiah permission to start officially dating Mary. They weren't allowed to be overly physical. Of course, premarital sex was completely out of the question, but they could sit together and hold hands and things like that. But yeah, Jeremiah and Mary became a couple, and this became a pretty strong focus in the beginning of season 1 of the show. Jeremiah decided to propose to Mary right after her 18th birthday, but before he did, he asked her father for her hand in marriage. And this was all caught on camera.
I know we've been talking for a while. We're emailing you and have some questions, but I just want to officially ask.
Annoying little fuckers!
To marry me last. Is that yes, but so yeah. Well, I think you know my answer already, Jim. I know I'm a big fan.
Here we go again!
Really happy that we marry at home. We certainly have my permission to ask her and my blessing. Hey, thank you. Really? Yeah.
Goddamn bugs!
No, I just think you
So Jeremiah proposes, Mary says yes, they announce their engagement at the next church service, and everything seems okay.
I don't think I need to go to church service.
Annoying little fuckers!
But the happiness was short-lived because somehow Mary found out about what Toby was doing to his daughters, and she confronted Jeremiah. This part was, of course, not on the show. This was all happening behind the scenes. So Mary tells Jeremiah that she knows what Toby is doing. Jeremiah panics, and he calls a meeting with some of the older kids, and he also invited his dad and mom to sit in on this meeting. So in this meeting, it's Jessica, Jennifer, Jeanette, Jeremiah, and Brenda, and Toby. And he says Mary knows what Dad's been doing to the girls. So this meeting right here is undeniable proof that this wasn't a secret. And during this little meeting, Toby is just gaslighting his daughters. He's saying things like, "There's nothing to know, right, girls? You have pretty eye. If anyone asks me questions, just tell them they have no clue." If Mary would have been a part of this reality show, if the audience didn't already know about her, he would have just had to like, just dump her and move on. She's not one of us. She's an outsider, blah, blah, blah. She would have just been gone. But he didn't do that. Viewers already know about Mary, and she's engaged to Jeremiah, so we gotta figure out what's going on. So basically the plan was just nothing to just convince her that nothing's happening. So after this meeting, Lilith and the network ended up flying Mary out to see Jeremiah because the show and they want her. She stays on television for about a week, but behind the scenes things are really Jeremiah and Mary. When the tour is over, Mary invites Jeremiah over and she ends being back. She and her family ended up leaving the church. They actually moved states. I'm assuming this was an attempt to get as far away from the situation as possible. And Mary's family knew Toby. Look, I'm just saying, my glove shot might be helpful, you know? Show around. They might have been afraid. And so if you watch the Willis family show back, they can send as many as they want. You might remember Mary suddenly not being the show. Family had to address this situation. They were posing a lot of questions. And so the explanation that they gave was that there were some differences and it just ended up not working. Toby had managed to ruin one of his children's relationships, and he was about to try again, but he would actually lead to his downfall. It all started when Jessica met a man named Sean. Sean Culbertson was a general manager at the Pringle offering for the Willis family at this time. Toby, who was always interested in making connections to further the band's success, he invited the Fishers over for dinner, and Sean and Jessica had an attraction. And at first, Toby was sort of okay with the idea of the two of them dating, probably because of who Sean's father was, but it had to be on Toby's terms. Any outsider that came to his family, that person had to adhere to Toby's rules, his beliefs. Everyone had to conform to what he wanted them to be. And if they wouldn't do that, they were out. This meant that Jessica and Sean could not consider themselves boyfriend until Toby said it was okay. They would need to be chaperoned. No physical stuff at all happened between the two of them. Sean needed to adhere to the Willis family's religious beliefs and all their rules. And at this point, when Jessica met Sean, she is in her early 20s. I believe she's 21. But Toby still has a very, very strong hold over every aspect of her life. She can't even go out on a date without mentioning her father. And Sean's family were not like the Willis family. They did not have the same rules for their kids or the same extreme beliefs. But because Sean liked Jessica so much, he was willing to do whatever he had to do to be with her. So at first, he did try to do things that he thought might make Toby accept him. He started attending the church. He would stop by for visits. Don't pull a muscle, bounty hunter, Jesus! But it took a turn pretty quickly. I think Toby saw that Jessica and Sean were getting a little too close, and so he told her that they needed to stop seeing each other. The story was that some of the people at their church were complaining that Sean and Jessica were setting a bad example for the younger kids. Sean was an outsider, not really a member of their church, and Jessica shouldn't be dating an outsider. But Jessica and Sean were in love by this point, and they were going to figure out a way to be together. They devised little plans to see each other secretly. In the evenings, Jessica would go out for a run. Sean would be parked at the end of their property, and Jessica would run down to meet him. Before she finally got a cell phone at the age of 23, she did have an iPad, and she would use that iPad to send Sean messages. But she would delete these messages so no one would figure out that she was still secretly. And Sean tried this that was obvious, but he had also become suspicious that there was some sort of he didn't know exactly what was happening, but he thought he had an idea, and so he started talking to Jessica about it. Very slowly, sometimes not even coming out with a specific question, but alluding to the fact that he knew something was up. And eventually Jessica opened up and told him. Without going into too much detail, she told him that she was by her father. Then one day, one of the little kids was using Jessica's iPad and they found some explicit photos that she had sent to Sean that she thought she deleted, but apparently she didn't. Once Toby found out about it, he completely lost it. He had the audacity to send photos to Sean, knowing full well that he had been taking inappropriate photos of his girls for years since they were and Jessica was forced to break up with Sean. They made her invite him over to the house and break up with him in front of everyone. After this, Jessica fell into a depression. She lost weight. She was having trouble focusing on anything, really. And this was all happening during the filming of the second season of the TLC show. But Sean was not giving up. He knew that Jessica was still under the control of him. He managed to split Jessica's books about various topics that he thought might put some things into perspective for her, and it did. These were books about overcoming trauma and dealing with a narcissist. Jessica was starting to see her father for who he really was. Jessica and Sean started corresponding through letters because at this point her phone had been taken away. One of the TLC production assistants agreed to help them out, secretly exchanging letters between the two of them.
Don't worry about me running out of crystals. I can always just make more. They're not worth anything, though. Oh, that would be so sick if we could sell them. I wish I could just sit around all day shooting out crystals and we could use them to buy like a space yacht
to someone for her. So this was on for a while, and then one day, before Jessica walked in on his mother and sisters having a conversation, she could tell to see them, and she found out that her dad and after she went to dad. He was in a panic because he knew that he was losing control over where his children. This one leave, this one go, and it would be like a domino effect. And so he knew that he had to figure out so he didn't expect that. In front of the entire family, basically put Jessica on like a religious trial. He accused her of walking away from God, and she walked away from God, and that must mean that she is not serving Him. He repeatedly asked her, "Who's your master? Who's your master?" over and over again. There are only two choices. You're either for God or you're for the devil. Which side are you on? Some of the family members even started recording during this whole thing and just asking her repeatedly, "Who's your master?" Until finally, Jessica just broke down and she said, "Satan. Satan is my master." She said it sarcastically, but that's all Toby needed. Because in that moment, in front of the whole family, Jessica became public enemy number one. She was the evil child. She was shunned from the other children. And now Toby had her on video admitting that she was evil. After that, Toby would have the other kids keep watch over Jessica to make sure she didn't try to leave. And if she did get caught trying, they would physically prevent her from leaving. The other kids would also randomly start recording her. Sometimes she would wake up and one of her siblings would be watching over her while she was asleep. She was completely trapped. She was a prisoner in that house. But then one day in April of 2016, Toby did something that gave Jessica. He beat Jessica with a belt for talking back to him. And she decided right then and there that this was enough. Like, she is just not dealing with this anymore. And she decided that she was leaving that day. Toby, of course, did not make this easy. It was an all-day argument, negotiation, just gaslighting session. He even threatened to sue her at one point. I mean, he was trying anything and everything he could think of to manipulate her into staying in that house. But Jessica did not back down. She was determined that she was going to leave that night. So just to save face, Toby told the other kids that he was making Jessica leave because she was evil. She was such a terrible influence. She was allowed to take her fiddle and a few changes of clothes, and that was it. She had to leave any other electronic devices and everything else. A couple of her siblings dropped her off at a cousin's house, and that was it. Jessica was finally out. This doesn't mean that she had it easy. It was a long road to recovery, but Jessica and Sean were finally able to be together. Sean's family treated her like their own. She started going to intensive therapy, and she was finally officially on the road to recovery. And she was inching towards a final goal of turning her father in for everything that he had done. But before she had a chance to do that, a few months after she had left the house, an ex-church member went to the church leaders and they told them that Toby Willis was abusing his daughters. This person was Mary's brother. Remember Mary, Jeremiah's ex-fiance? He came back in town for whatever reason and he went to the church leaders and he told them what Toby had been doing. I don't know how Mary and her family knew for sure that Toby was doing this. Maybe Mary had seen something and she told her brother about it. I don't know, but somehow they knew. So he goes and tells the the church leaders all that he knows. Thankfully, the church leaders did not try to handle the situation there within their church. That happens so often in these tight religious circles, and that's why so much abuse in churches goes unchecked. One of the church leaders knew a police officer personally, and so they called him over, they told him everything that was going on, and his immediate response was, "You have to report this, like, right now. You needed to call and make an official report." So Mary's brother called the Department of Children's Services Abuse Hotline and filed a report, and that's what got the ball rolling. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, or TBI, got involved, and they interviewed Jessica.
Boy, you are always in some kind of rush, aren't you? I'm not judging. I'm just observing.
Disgusting things her father had done to her over the years. But before agents had the chance to make an arrest, Toby took off. He started hitchhiking, and he made it all the way to Greenville, Kentucky before police caught up to him. Now, if you typically just listen to my videos and you don't actually watch them, I know a lot of you listen while you're working or doing chores, just this once, I urge you to stop what you're doing and go look at your screen, because you need to see just how crazy it is. Now, let's do a comparison. This is the image Toby portrayed when he was on screen, or at gigs with his children. But this is not the real Toby Willis. This face right here is the real Toby. This man is a monster. This has to be one of the most disturbing mugshots I've ever seen.
We developed information during the course of our investigation that led us to believe that he did not want to be found by law enforcement.
The TBI says Willis hitchhiked 115 miles last week from Shepherdsville, Kentucky to Greenville, Kentucky, and he accepted rides from at least 2 people. It's unclear why or how he got from his home in Athens to Shepherdsville. A spokesperson for TLC says the network do not renew the Willis family, and new episodes haven't aired since April. All social media presence for the family is gone, and the previous publicist that we reached out to had no comment.
Toby ended up being guilty to the charges. He likely knew that the world would know all of the horrific details about what he had done. In the end, he was sentenced to 40 years in prison, and he is required to serve 100% of that sentence with no chance of parole. So that means he will be out.
Die, you creepy crawly bastard!
Brenda and the kids took down all of their social media accounts after the news broke, and the band stopped just to give themselves a chance to fight in the process everything they've been through.
When everything kind of came out in the open and became public knowledge and abuse and stuff, we took 2 years out of the public eye, and we really tried to get kind of focused on ourselves and each other and get through the process. And we really didn't know right away if a music career would be possible for us. So we started writing music again, sounds that were just kind of for ourselves. And it was almost a year later that we decided to come together and do this project.
They did get back together and started performing again. Jessica was no longer in the band though, but as far as I can tell, all the family seems to be on good terms. The girls finally had a chance to share their individual stories with each other, something that they never got to do until they were still around. Brenda divorced
How many more faces does the G3 have?
And Jessica and Sean ended up getting married. She's making music as a solo artist now, and she's
killing these weak fucks doesn't do anything for me.
We're the beloved family, all these children doing what they love to do.
Hey, back the fuck up!
Well,
after this, we're going to the livery location.
I've been going for many years, ever since I was young. When I was really little, I didn't have words for that. I didn't necessarily know that anything was wrong, and then realize something was wrong. It was really just my body telling me, or something was uncomfortable, but not having a clarity, not understanding. Then it did get to the point where I was in my early 20s, on TV, performing with my family, and a lot of parts of it did really look like but those unhealthy threads, so to speak, had been woven in at that time. And it really escalated. I'm pretty open about my dad was pretty much abusive in every way that a person can be. I went through sexual abuse. It got really violent when I tried to get out. And that's the story. Although I was out talking and performing, that's the story that I really need to tell and be productive. And in a way, my book is it's called Unspeakable, but the Un's crossed out. It's like something changed when you actually speak that.
part of. I highly recommend Jessica's book. It is extremely well written. I will leave a link in the description box if you're interested in checking that out. And I recommend the audiobook because Jessica is the narrator and she does a really great job. And it makes it so much more impactful knowing that you're hearing Jessica's words from her own mouth. She also has a YouTube channel where she uploads her music, so go check that out as well. Very talented, super inspirational person, and I hope she is living her best life. I hope everyone in this case is finally able to live their best lives. And that is all I have on this case. Let me know what you guys think about this one down in the comments. Don't forget to click the link in my description box or scan the QR code on the screen to download June's Journey for free. If you found this video interesting, please consider subscribing, liking this video, and leaving me a comment. That is the easiest way for you to help out me on the channel. And as always, I appreciate each and every one of you.
And as always,
Hey, I need help. Be free, little humans. Be free.
As always.
Doesn't the brother look like someone from The Walking Dead?
He does.
He looks like really fucked up. Like he looks like he has trauma like deeper than the girls maybe. Because the girls, they look like they have unless they hide it well. I don't look like they have that trauma. But you know, like when someone has gone through a lot, you can tell on their face.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I could tell that more with him than the girls. Yeah, the girls were the ones that were more, like, abused, you know? I mean, he couldn't have had sex with them, though, right? Because if it's, like, that kind of thing where no sex before marriage, isn't that, like, defiling them?
How's it going?
Like, for being able to get married to someone?
I thought.
But, like, do you think, because sexual abuse could be anything, it could just be lusting or touching, or that's all that happened? I'm not saying that wasn't enough, but I'm just, like, because they're religious, right? So that's kind of what I was trying to figure out.
Are you feeling it? I'm feeling it.
I think what he was doing was using that as a form of control. He, instead of using God as a form of peace and teaching them about the Word of God, he was using it as a weapon and not as a weapon as it should be, a weapon that it shouldn't be. He twisted and made it into something that it should have never been.
No, I meant like the sexual abuse.
Yeah, that's what he was doing. Pretty much, I mean, the way it sounds like he was just, like, using, like, the Bible as a weapon. To justify it, like, as a weapon. Instead of using it as a weapon against the devil, he was using it as a weapon for the devil.
I don't think he actually raped them, but I don't know that for sure. I just think he maybe just molested them, because I don't see how they'd be able to pawn off their daughters to marry someone if they've already been, you know, if they're not virgins, I guess.
Fucking little freak!
Oh, the Island Boy guy.
It's nice to kill something.
The Island Boys. You know, the Island Boys. You know that song? It went all popular there for a minute. That's him. That's one of the brothers or whatever.
Who?
That guy right there with the eagle tattoo on his forehead. Or whatever that is on his forehead.
Fuck, I don't want to die like this or at all.
I was talking about the face in the window though.
Oh. pretty creepy.
As a two-time WNBA champion, let me tell you, the league is on fire. Sellout games, national deadlines, stars. This is the season you won't want to miss. And
Probably one of them you made, huh?
An increasingly popular way to explore the great outdoors, offering adventurers the perfect blend of mobility and comfort. But what happens when these idyllic outdoor experiences take an unexpected and unsettling turn? With truck camping in a haunted graveyard, in the presence of unforeseen visitors, these are the 30 most disturbing truck camping moments caught on camera. A YouTuber passed his man near a cemetery as darkness fell, ready to explore the allegedly haunted woods. Armed with a camera, he ventured through ancient gravestones into the whispering forest.
Retards, white hot chocolate, a luxury version.
I thought he said retards white hot chocolate. Oh my good lord.
Caught his eye. His heart raced as he tried to capture it on film, but the darkness obscured. Juba parked his van near a cemetery as darkness fell, ready to explore the allegedly haunted woods.
Wasn't just a cemetery, it was a symmetry.
Whispering forest.
Retards, white hot chocolate, a luxury version.
In the background?
Yeah, right there.
Suddenly, movement caught his eye. His heart raced as he tried to capture it on film, but the darkness obscured his vision.
Oh, yes. You can't see anything. Oh, what's that?
Throughout the night, strange noises and lights kept him on edge. Was it just nocturnal wildlife or something supernatural? The legend of a vicar who died in these woods haunted his thoughts. At dawn, he emerged from his van, shaken. The once menacing woods now looked ordinary in the daylight, but the memory of the ghostly figure lingered. An unsettling scene unfolded in the dead of night, around 12:30 a.m. The situation grew more tense as two figures dressed in all black, with hoods obscuring their faces, appeared. They positioned themselves beneath the security camera, likely trying to avoid detection.
Here we go. You can do this. Hey, where'd you go?
Suddenly, the mysterious pair vanished from sight, seemingly disappearing around the back door of the building. The camper's anxiety mounted as he tried to make sense of the bizarre occurrence. 10 minutes later, the two figures reappeared. One moved in one direction, while the other remained in place.
But my
The camper, attempting to sleep but now fully alert, couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. The fact that these individuals had been dropped off and the car had left only added to the suspicion. Whatever the case, sleep seemed impossible as the mysterious events continued to unfold in the darkness. In the quiet hours of the night, a routine stop near a 24-hour McDonald's turned into a chilling encounter for one stealth camper. The evening began uneventfully as he settled into his usual spot, preparing for a night's rest in his vehicle. Suddenly, the peace was shattered by the sound of someone trying to force entry.
What's going on? What are you doing?
A stranger appeared, silent and motionless, ignoring all attempts at communication. The camper's heart raced as he realized the vulnerability of his situation.
I would have gone outside and talked to him.
Shaken and blasted left, the camper hastily fled the scene, seeking safety in the darkness.
I was like, hello? I was sleeping, and then this dude grabbed my door handle, and I don't know where he went. And you guys saw him, he was like a freaking zombie, dude.
As he drove, he caught a glimpse of a figure in the distance, uncertain if it was his silent assailant or an innocent bystander. As the wind picked up and the temperature dropped, these campers decided to head back down. Once at the bottom, they parked in a small area by the footpath leading to the reservoir and began preparing the van for the night. Suddenly, they heard something outside that wasn't just their dog or its usual noises.
And my wife are in this van. Can I step back from my door, please? Now! No, step back out of my personal space. Yes.
When they opened the door, they found a woman confronting their dog, holding a German Shepherd by the neck and trying to intimidate him.
And we started to prep the van for midnight. Outside, we started to hear something that wasn't just Maximus or his tablets, so I opened the door to them.
They thought the incident was over, but it wasn't. Later, another confrontation occurred.
Yes. Holding the German Shepherd by the neck, pulling him back, trying to intimidate
Well, look at that
Maximus.
stamina. You must have been a track team or something.
Between Maximus and the lady. Then
a man approached their van aggressively, refusing to step back when asked. What started as a simple night's rest became a series of tense and potentially dangerous situations. As the clock struck midnight, a lone camper steered his trusty 2003 Tacoma off the freeway and into what seemed like a quiet parking lot. Little did he know, this peaceful refuge would soon become the stage for an unsettling encounter.
So we see you in second, that's no second, license plate, something like that. I'm not sure why you think this, so I thought maybe.
The camper shell of his truck, usually a cocoon of safety, suddenly felt exposed as the hands of time crept towards 1:30 a.m.
It's kind of odd. Yeah. Look like a security guard.
Through the tinted windows, he watched in tense silence as a shadowy figure pulled out a phone, its screen illuminating his face as he appeared to photograph the license plate. The tension peaked as the stranger, emboldened by the truck's apparent emptiness, shot his flashlight into the back of the camper shell. In that heart-stopping moment, the camper made a split-second decision. His sudden movement and the loud bang on the window shattered the night's silence. The man caught off guard, fled into the darkness. This camper settled into his vehicle with the night in Shrewsbury, expecting to wake up peacefully in the morning. However, the calm was suddenly shattered when someone attempted to open the door of his
Dead
vehicle.
lug locks. We're just rifling around in your guts real quick.
Startled and alarmed, he remained silent, hoping the intruder would leave. After a tense moment, the mysterious person departed, leaving the camper shaken but unharmed. Realizing the potential danger of the situation, he decided it was best to leave the area immediately.
Hey!
A female camper found herself in a parking lot that was supposedly safe for overnight stays, but uncertainty lingered. Exhaustion forced her to stop, but a suspicious truck pulled in as soon as she passed.
And it's on all the way.
Right, finally! It's been a hot second.
The situation intensified as the truck circled the area multiple times, each pass increasing the camper's anxiety. Frustrated and scared, she eventually left to find another sleeping spot.
No problem.
Pretty weird now, because I'm done with it.
The camper then lived the night, expecting nothing. However, a peculiar occurrence disrupted the peace around 3 a.m.
We'll have to get the rest of our clothes from behind the water.
Packing up, debating whether to put up window shades while maintaining visibility in case a quick departure was necessary.
You fuckers ready for sleep?
Eventually, both suspicious vehicles left, allowing the camper to set up the window shades and settle in. A man stopped by a camper's van and explained that he made rounds to check on people and offer water to those camping in the area.
So I managed to track things. Got what they need.
He mentioned living nearby and seemed friendly, offering to use his shower if needed. Shortly after this encounter, another person approached the camper with a disturbing revelation.
Driving a older Dodge pickup. And he told me he lives out here and offered water.
Surprisingly, both men seemed to be the same person. In the end, the camper drove as far away from the desert BLM land as possible. A female solo camper returned to her campsite to find she had been robbed.
Oh, because since I don't have a tent, I felt like I wasn't moving enough, and I wanted my site to be.
Despite being in a loop where other campers routinely left their setups unattended while exploring the park, the kitchen system, stored in a drawer under the vehicle, had been stolen.
But I don't have that much stuff, so I just left my entire drawer system, and it's gone. That sucks. Like my entire kitchen system.
She had left these items out, along with a water jug, table, and chair, to reserve her spot like others did with tents.
I feel like there's people out there that just do that. That just like rob. For what? I hope you're enjoying my oatmeal. Honestly.
The camper expressed disbelief and frustration at the situation, feeling violated and struggling to comprehend why someone would steal from the campsite. A camper recounted a disturbing encounter with a persistent stranger. Initially, the man approached her vehicle, attempting to communicate despite language barriers.
I was scared I'd never get to see you again.
Feeling uncomfortable, she shut her door on him, hoping he would leave. However, the man remained, spending considerable time trying to get her attention. For about an hour, the stranger repeatedly moved his car around the van, parking it in different positions to maintain visual contact.
Like a family pulled in a big RV, and they kind of were just kind of behind me, not right behind me, but close enough that they would hear me scream, and so I thought.
This behavior deeply unsettled the camper, who had closed her curtains for privacy. As darkness fell, her anxiety increased, and she was unsure of how to handle the situation. A moment of relief came when a family in an RV parked nearby, providing some comfort to the camper. As the weather turned chilly and rainy, Noah retreated inside the camper. As night fell, he drifted off to sleep, but was awakened by what sounded like screaming.
I was just walking up to what sounded like
Someone screaming. Figure out.
He speculated it might be some type of bird. Throughout the narrative, Noah's dog, Blue, occasionally tried to get comfortable and made noises. A female camper described a field of artichokes in bloom, surprised and delighted by their bright purple flowers. After visiting a nearby farmer's market and buying some tomatoes, she was interrupted by a man yelling and waving to get her attention.
Seriously, where is the creep magnet in the stand? I need to let know. Where is the guy literally yelling at me? I mean,
Frustrated, she questioned why some men think such actions are appropriate. Ignoring the man, she continued photographing the flowers, annoyed that she might have to leave due to harassment.
I'm in a team murder in your glue.
he's like waving at me over there. I'm taking pictures of flowers.
Nobody's gonna miss you.
She mentioned similar encounters with and reflected on whether discussing these experiences might attract more. After a while, the man goes on. A camper describes his easy use which included disposing of grey water. Prepare to sleep and watch a movie.
Consider that an
They're
early
gonna be that.
retirement.
After I've got some sweets, we're watching a movie. And then,
However, his peaceful night was suddenly disrupted by a frightening incident.
I don't want to be pushy or anything, but maybe try my glob shot every now and again, you know?
He heard noises outside and realized someone was trying to enter the van, not just knocking, but attempting to open the handle. This caused his heart to pound with fear.
Oh, back so soon. Must have remembered something you needed.
they literally tried to get in.
After the intruder seemed to leave, the camper cautiously checked outside. He speculated that the person might have been trying to move him on or break in. A camper heard faint singing in the distance, which he initially found unsettling. However, he soon realized it was just other campers, reminding him he wasn't alone on the public land. As night fell, the camper returned to his van to prepare for bed. While making tea, he heard a sudden thud outside the van, causing a moment of panic.
It sounded like something hit my pan. I'm like shaking right now.
After a careful investigation, he discovered it was just his shovel falling over, much to his relief.
Thanks for coming back. This
We're
will
all
look
good.
on my evaluation.
As nightfall blanketed the surroundings in a dense forest, a lone male YouTuber settled into his camper, expecting a peaceful night of solo camping. Unbeknownst to him, the night would soon unravel into a series of chilling events that would test his nerves.
Oh, so chilling.
It started with a single knock on the camper door, echoing through the small space and sending shivers down his spine.
I hear something walking outside.
The knock was followed by an eerie scraping sound, as if someone, or something, was dragging their knuckles down the door. The intent felt disturbingly sinister. Desperate to escape, he packed up at first light, but as he drove away, he caught a glimpse of a makeshift camp in the distance, with a truck parked beside it. Inside the truck, a solitary figure sat,
Hey, you don't have to
watching.
run everywhere.
A
You
male
might want to
camper
slow down
settled
and
into
enjoy the
night,
scenery once in a
hoping
while.
for a
Look at this
peaceful
place.
rest. However, his sleep was abruptly interrupted by the sound of cars arriving nearby.
Somebody has parked the car.
The situation quickly became unsettling as two vehicles pulled up, lights off and music blaring.
This guy's playing music to my left, and that's because another one threw up as well, and I would not feel good about it at all. so I get out of it.
Feeling unsafe, he decided to leave immediately. He described the dangerous conditions, emphasizing the pitch-black darkness and their remote location. While he speculated that it might just be teenagers looking for a place to smoke or drink, he worried about the risks of being alone in such a secluded area. As dusk settled over the Great Dividing Range in New South Wales, Australia, a solitary van stood in stark contrast to the vast wilderness surrounding it. Inside, a novice van lifer, just 7 months into her journey, grappled with the growing unease of her chosen campsite. Suddenly, a car emerged. 4 men, clearly not campers, exited the vehicle. When the men finally departed, the relief was palpable but short-lived.
Hey, how's the bounty hunting? Perfect.
The encounter had outweigh the rewards.
Dang it, Oak Cream Blend cured my fear of missing dairy. Oh, yeah.
Welcome. Thanks. God, I hate giving this stuff up. You go on and have the best day of your life, because tomorrow, it's gonna be rock bottom again. All right, you're all set.
Oh no.
Took you long enough, the concrete
Get on TikTok and save on your favorite friends. Find great deals on different styles. Make calves on.
Me arm jiggle.
With a mix of disappointment and resolve, you extinguished the fire.
Oh my gosh, he's jerking my arm off.
This apart from a scenic location near the harbour in Brixton.
Oh,
Little shittily.
And there you have it.
Well, that's a first for me.
The night passed relatively peacefully, with the camper waking around 6 a.m. due to a garbage truck and nearby workers. After getting up, he planned to explore the harbour area. However, his morning took a frightening turn.
It's not exactly like this.
What is it?
It's fairly.
Still in bed, the camper heard someone trying the door handle twice before walking away.
The car park and all that.
Hey, yeah, yeah. Come over to the TV. Yeah, it's me. Look at me, guy. Look at me.
Shocked and scared, he quickly packed up and prepared to leave, noting the unusual nature of the attempted break-in, which occurred in broad daylight. A camper pulled over to sleep in what he thought was a secluded forest area, believing no one was around. However, this assumption proved wrong.
You're still special. This is not a TV show.
Next time on Look at Me.
Okay, that last one was a TV show, but this time I'm really just
Someone
a guy.
attempted to
I'm
creep
just a
around the
guy
truck while he
saying
was
hi.
sleeping.
Yeah, this is a good idea.
Next time on Look at Me.
Okay, that's not good.
Oh, you need my help, huh?
The next day, after returning home, he noticed several disturbing
At least the backhand he was locked, but
touched.
There were numerous marks, handprints and scratches along the side of the vehicle. Matt Tober spent a night in the woods, staying warm inside his van, despite freezing temperatures outside. He planned to have coffee, snacks, and relax, with the possibility of exploring to spot wildlife. He had heard coyotes and knew deer were in the state forest. As Matt prepared to explore outside, a loud scampering sound startled him.
I don't like being on TV. People tell me to be on a TV because they say it's how it's supposed to be.
The second that went out there, I literally just heard like.
And you are the first
Feeling
thing I've
uneasy,
seen that
he
has
cautiously
made me
looked
feel
around
like
before
I'm
venturing
doing
out,
something wrong.
describing the eerie
And I
feeling
know
of being
that's a
alone
lot
in the
to put
dark
on you,
woods.
but if you look away, I'm gonna commit murder homicide.
Next time on Look at Me.
Okay, you can look away now. Bye-bye. I'm done. Bye.
He walked around briefly, noting the surroundings. Despite the unsettling atmosphere, he didn't see any animal eyes reflecting in his light. 2 campers spotted a suspicious man in red Chevy Tahoe. He prompted them to pack up and leave quickly.
Somebody help me! Help me!
That's the guy. I don't know if anybody can see that. I don't know where to go.
Like, why me?
Yeah, he's chilling right.
They found themselves in Carson City, Nevada, on Labor Day weekend, searching for accommodation.
Why'd you let me sit
After
there
calling
gathering
numerous
dust?
hotels without success, they stopped at a gas station in Lake Tahoe.
We just packed up and...
Yeah, we are out of here.
Who could forget this?
Oh yeah.
Red Lake.
One of the campers attempted to secure a room at a nearby Holiday Inn, while the other camper waited anxiously. Unfortunately, they had no luck finding a hotel room in the area. It was around 2 a.m. The camper was startled by someone outside his van.
2 a.m. There's somebody outside. They pulled up, and they grabbed the back of my...
The intruder had pulled up and walked around to the back of the van, getting uncomfortably close to the back doors. The camper speculated that the person might have been trying to peek inside, possibly mistaking the fake windows for blacked out ones.
Oh yeah.
The situation became even more unsettling when the intruder opened his car door. Eventually, the intruder seemed to drive off, but his presence could still be felt nearby.
Back okay.
However, the camper's relief was short-lived.
Is this frozen legs?
Oh, it's where it's tired.
She noticed the vehicle circling back around towards her. Finally, after what must have felt like an eternity, the vehicle appeared to be leaving. As the night was winding down, the camper was preparing to clean up and get some sleep. However, an unexpected disturbance outside interrupted his plans.
There's a car out there. Yeah. Unless anything else more incredibly exciting happens, I guess I'll see you.
Someone approached his van, startling him.
You know, mate. Did you have this? Well, yeah. Yeah.
Both campers observed a vehicle with its lights on at the top of a nearby hill, which caused some concern. Given the late hour and the remote location, the situation was particularly worrying. They decided to use the drone to get a better view of the situation.
This trolley is going to crush all 5 of us. You need to pull that
Apologies
lever
if you guys
so the
can't
trolley
see
will
much
switch tracks.
dark it
That's
is
the
inside.
only way we'll survive.
There's definitely something or someone.
Don't pull that lever.
The drone's footage revealed what appeared to be a fire at the top of the hill, adding to the mystery of the nighttime disturbance. As they settled in for the night again, they made a plan to alert each other if anything else happened, agreeing to sound the horn if necessary. Johnny's buddy Cole texted him at the last minute, around 8 p.m., asking if he wanted to go steelhead fishing. Excited by the opportunity, Johnny agreed and set out on an hour-long ride. As he was trying to be quiet due to nearby cars and sleeping people, some individuals approached his vehicle.
Guys just pulled up. Try to warn them by door of my truck.
To be honest, you're already killing someone either way. One murder or
They tried to open his door, which was a
choice in
lie.
my book.
Thankfully,
Not really much
they
of a
left without
conundrum at all.
incident.
Go ahead, flip that switch. I'll give you all the pesos I have if you save my life instead.
Guys just pulled up.
Thank you so much. We're
Early the
saved.
next morning, around 6 a.m., Johnny woke up to windows covered in ice due to the cold temperature, which was likely between 20 to 30 degrees Fahrenheit. After getting warm and gathering his fishing gear, Johnny headed down to the river. As the sun set, the camper found himself alone in the darkening forest, gathering firewood for his campsite.
Do this all. Weird and stuff. Hey, I was gone for too long and fired.
Oh,
While searching for wood, he stumbled upon a peculiar sight.
us.
A recliner chair was randomly placed in the woods,
weird, huh?
adding to the unsettling ambience.
I have a
During his
clown
cooking
chair in the
process,
middle of the woods.
he experienced more
That's
unsettling
pretty
moments.
weird.
That was hardcore. And don't worry, you made the right call. Or honestly, maybe you didn't. Who gives a shit?
He heard noises outside. His camera inexplicably fell. Despite these disturbances, he continued preparing meals, trying to maintain a sense of normalcy. A camper received an unexpected phone call from his brother, informing him of vandalism to his motorcycle.
Looks like I have not been there. There's quarantine, water, vandalism. Looks like
Don't feel bad about this, bounty hunter.
Upon
This is
inspection,
what they're
he discovered
for.
2 pellet holes in the vehicle's
All of
back
them?
window.
I'm not judging.
This incident was particularly frustrating given the current quarantine conditions, which had already limited his activities and posts.
I've tried to being self-isolated, and we can see that all glass is now going to have to be.
The damage to the window presented a significant problem, as the entire glass pane would need replacement. This additional work was unwelcome, especially considering existing issues with the roof. Given the height of the motorhome, the owner's immediate concern was to secure the window to prevent it from falling out, potentially injuring passers-by. He resorted to a temporary fix using duct tape with limited resources due to quarantine restrictions and closed businesses. The truck camper settled into the night, enjoying a dinner of spicy chicken tenders while watching TV in his semi-truck. Outside, a storm raged in the Bay Area, creating a cozy atmosphere inside the vehicle.
Don't be scared.
As the night progressed, the camper was startled awake at 3 a.m. by someone knocking on the front door.
I'm a teen.
Teens! You can do it! We believe in you!
Concerned and cautious, he chose not to answer, speculating it might be a local resident disturbed by the noise of his weekend. The incident disrupted his sleep, leaving him frustrated the following day. Despite the interrupted night, the camper began his morning routine inside the truck. Inside his car, this camper described using a tube heater to stay warm in the 5 degrees Celsius weather outside. He spent the evening watching TV shows and relaxing, planning to turn off the fridge and settle in for the night. However, the peaceful evening was interrupted around midnight by the arrival of 2 people near the car. The camper observed them for nearly an hour before they departed, referring to them as joggers and expressing surprise at their late-night activities on a weeknight.
Don't give up. That's not the way of the teen.
We believe in you.
You ready to show us
As if the
teens what you
unexpected
can
visitors
do?
weren't enough, a storm began approaching.
Really?
The
That's
camper
so
described seeing
unteen of
flashes
you.
of lightning
Well, if
and
you change your
eventually
mind, we'll
hearing
just be here
thunder.
teening it
The
up.
rain started, creating a tense atmosphere inside the car. The camper's experiences highlight the challenges and unexpected moments of car camping, from dealing with weather and unexpected nighttime disturbances to adapting morning routines in a confined space.
There are quesadillas, and then there's Zaxby's giant chicken finger quesadilla.
Oh, hey, a movie's starting. You know, we deserve a break. Let's watch. Let's sit down and watch. It's starting. All right, nice and
So
comfy.
guys, what are we watching today?
I don't know. It's just a black screen right now. But I'm very, very anxious.
What does it say, Rich?
It says demon.
Are those guys really gonna just talk the whole time?
Demon wind. Oh, I can hear wind. That's the demon wind.
Are you sure it's not an unrelated wind? Oh my goodness gracious.
My grandfather went the exact same way.
Somebody got burnt on a cross in 1931.
It was a lot more common back then, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, you know what? That's enough of that.
It's like homeowners association started. Stop all those lawn crucifixions.
Oh, okay, yeah, let's watch a little more.
Thought I told you before. keep Fluffy in her cage at night.
This is the worst family barbecue ever.
I figured out the family lineage right away, gentlemen. I've seen
this movie we haven't watched?
I've seen the film before, 14 different times.
Oh my god, you've seen Demon Wind 14 times.
Yes, and you guys have...
So this has to be really...
Well,
It's always nice to take a break, you know, but eventually you gotta get back to the adventure, you know?
Oh, well, I gotta stop now. Like 5 minutes, I got another something to do. Yeah.
I'm doing very
Holy shit, is that some sort of miniature town?
Oh, hello there. I'm Cutie Hubie, and it's fantastic. You've decided to take a look around Little Cutie Town. Oh, I'm so excited for you to see everything Little Cutie Town has to offer.
So far, I've noticed that much like deep, close, and appreciate eyebrow puns. You know that? This guy
Our new visitor's a little shy, huh? Don't worry, it's okay. We're just a bunch of little cutie pies here, and we love meeting new people. We'll bake you plenty of delicious cakes and give you fun little kisses on the...
Hey, you there! You gotta fix our pipes fast!
Oh, yes, please help us. Oh, yes, I gotta take a big shoot.
And I'm just sitting here at the bottom of the pipe. No reason.
What the fuck?
He used to expose the microbes as a kid. Got sick. A lot of yeah.
What? I'll show you something. What have you got? I did that. What?